In this video, I'll be talking about the ABO blood grouping system. Now, the ABO blood grouping system is a type of grouping system that is based on the presence or absence of certain antigens or markers on the surface of your red blood cell. Now, these markers or antigens gives your blood its type. So let's assume you have the blood group A, B, AB, or O, which are the basic types of blood group we have. Let us now see the features of these red blood cells. Now, starting with blood group A. Blood group A, okay, we have A, B, AB, and blood group O. Now, starting with A, let's assume this is the erythrocyte of blood group A. Why it is called blood group A is because it has an antigen on the surface of the red blood cell. So this antigen is like a flag. I use a flag to represent it. It's like a flag that says, oh, I am blood type A. Okay, so it's a flag that says I am blood type A. Moving over to this type of blood, let's assume this is the erythrocyte. It has a flag that says what? I am blood type B. Over here, this is the erythrocyte. Because it is blood group AB, it has the both flags on the surface of the red blood cell. So this has a flag saying I am blood group A, and also here B on the same blood. Now, what is more unique is the blood group O, because it is just an empty blood cell. It doesn't have the antigen on its surface. Okay, it doesn't have the antigen on its surface. Now, coming over here to the blood group A, every blood has its soldiers. Every blood has its soldiers. These soldiers are called antibodies. The antibodies protect the soldiers against foreign blood type. Okay, so for the blood group A, it has an antibody that protects it from other types of blood group, and that antibody is antibody B. Okay, so the blood group A has A antigens on the surface of the red blood cell and has B antibody. This antibody protects the blood cell from other types of blood. Okay, now moving over to the blood group B. The blood group B, because it has the B antigen, it's going to have the A antibody. The A antibody. That means if you put A into B, these antibodies that serve as soldiers will attack the blood and there will be clumping. That is why cross-matching is really important before blood transfusion. Okay, now moving over to the blood group AB. The blood group AB has both the A and the B antigens. So there is no need for the antibodies, because if it has the B antibodies, it is going to attack A. If it has the A antibody, it's going to attack B. So the AB does not have an antibody. The blood group AB does not have an antibody that attacks these antigens. Okay, now moving over to the blood group O, you can see that it's an empty erythrocyte. It doesn't have anything on its surface, but it has both antibody A and B. So it has both antibodies. All right, now we're going to look at which can give to which can receive from which. Now let's start with the blood group A. The blood group A can only receive from itself. It can only receive from itself Blood group A can receive from blood group A because it is the same blood. It has the same antigens, so there will be no reaction. It can also receive from blood group O, and I will tell you why. It can receive from blood group O because blood group O does not have any antigen on the surface of the red blood cell to react with the B antibody. Okay, so there will be no reaction if blood group O donates to blood group A. Moving over to blood group B, who can blood group B receive from? Blood group B can only receive from itself and O. The same thing, O does not have antigen, so there will be nothing to react with. Okay, there will be nothing to react with here. Now moving over to this other blood group AB. Now blood group AB can receive from everybody, and that is because it doesn't have the soldiers to protect it, to fight against any of the blood type that comes in. So even if you give blood group A, there will be no reaction. Blood group B, there will be no reaction. Blood group AB itself, there will be no reaction. And blood group O, there will be no reaction. Okay, so any blood group that enters here, there will be no reaction. So that is why the blood group AB is regarded as the universal recipient. Universal recipient. Okay, it can receive from everybody. Now over to the blood group O. The blood group O can only receive from itself. It's a very terrible recipient. It can only receive from itself because it has everything. It has all types of soldiers to fight against all the antibodies. Okay, so if any type of blood is donated to A, what happens is that there will be a clumping to O rather. What happens is that there will be a clump. The blood will clump together, and what clumping does is that it blocks the blood vessels. Okay, so it hinders the flow of blood. So that is that. Now because of that, O is also regarded as the universal donor. Universal donor. So it can donate to anybody, but it can receive from only O. But there is something more important we need to talk about, and that is what we call the Rhesus factor. The Rhesus factor. Now, the Rhesus factor is a factor that was discovered in Rhesus monkeys, and over time they began to discover it in humans as well. Now, sometimes you may find out that you are A positive, B negative. Now, the negative and positive sign attached to your blood type is as a result of the presence of the Rhesus factor. This Rhesus factor is often designated with D, D sign. Okay, so when this Rhesus factor is present in your blood, that means you are positive for Rhesus factor. When it is negative in your blood, that means you are negative for the Rhesus factor. So if you have the Rhesus factor present in the surface of the red blood of the A blood will be A positive. Okay, if it is negative, if the Rhesus factor is not present in a blood type, let's assume blood group B, it will be B negative. If it's not present in A, it will be A negative. If it's present in B, it will be B positive. The same way here, if it's present in AB, it will be AB positive. If it's not present, it will be AB negative. The same way with O. If it's present, it will be O positive. If it's not present, it will be O negative. So these are the Rhesus factor. So typically we have about 8 unique type of blood, 8 unique blood groups, depending on the Rhesus factor. Okay, so That is that. In my next video, I will talk about how rhesus factor affects transfusion. Now, these are this is the breakdown of the ABO blood grouping system. Like I said, in my next video, I will talk about the rhesus factor. The rhesus factor. Now, the O is actually not a universal donor. The O is not a universal. You can't outrightly say that the O is a universal donor because there is a rhesus factor that determines. So with the rhesus factor, we can now know that O is of two types, the positive type of O and the negative type of O. And we will see that it is out of these two types of O, it is just one that is a universal donor. The other is not a universal donor. We are going to discuss that in another video. The same way, AB, we now have two variants of AB positive and AB negative. You will now know that out of these two, it is just one that is a universal recipient. The other cannot receive from everybody. If not, there will be an agglutination, there will be a reaction. That is that about the ABO blood grouping system. In my next video, I'll be talking about how the rhesus factor affects blood transfusion. Okay, so thank you very much and see you in my next video.